Hi, this is Kaiser Sensei. And yes, it's that time of the year. The time of the year I like to call Shmuptober. What's Shmuptober? Well, for the past, I guess 2 years, this will be the 3rd year, yes, I like to review shmups on the month of October. Normally, I like to review one shmup for each day of October, but for this year, I'm doing something a little bit different. Yes, that's right, I am making this into a Kaisercade special series. What is Kaisercade? Well, for a better idea, watch episode 0 up here. But anyway, here's what you can expect this episode on Kaisercade.
In this exciting edition of Kaisercade, he flies through the icky depths of Salamander, plays an obscure version of a classic game, Gaplus, shows off some old videotape, and more. Much more. Okay, not much more, but still, more on Kaisercade.
But before we see all that, let's kick it off with a review for the PS4. This is Arcade Archives, Twinbee. Nippon Ichi's Arcade Archive series treats us yet again to another rare arcade game. This time, it's Twinbee, the first game in the cult classic series by Konami. The gameplay in Twinbee is like a crossover between Namco's Xevious and a Saturday morning cartoon. But it is also a game that's in a league of its very own. Twinbee has 2 different attacks. A sky attack for attacking oncoming baddies, and a ground attack for attacking the baddies found on land. It is easy to play, but difficult to master. And boy, is this game difficult to master, as the baddies are incredibly ruthless and come in packs. Thank goodness you can get upgrades by finding bells hidden in clouds. But if you pick it up the way that it is, aka when it is gold, you'll only get bonus points. So you'll need to shoot at the bells until they turn into a different colour. My advice is to get Twinbee as pimped up as possible during the first part of the game. Otherwise, you're pretty much fucked. Twinbee will lose all upgrades once a life is lost. But this game does throw you a bone and gives Twinbee 2 shield hands that can absorb some of the damage. This is not an easy game to get into because of all those reasons. Once I got the hang of the game, I had an okay amount of fun with it. But I still wasn't blown away, or even remotely addicted. As an added bonus to this port, you do get both versions of the game. Each version uses different arcade hardware. And the only real difference I noticed was that one version was harder than the other, but it's still a very cool feature nonetheless. I'm mixed on the graphics. The characters have very fun designs, but the backgrounds are very ugly. I didn't like how static and lifeless they were. The borders that join the stages together are also just plain ugly. I've seen NES games look way better than this. Actually, the NES version of this game does look way better than this. I really liked the soundtrack. It was full of fun, character, and charm. And that's on top of it sounding good by itself. Another thing I liked about the sound was that it used voice samples. It added something special to the experience. Overall, Twinbee is a very interesting arcade game that's ultra hard and has a great cartoonish atmosphere, but it isn't anything worth going out of your way to play. Twinbee gets a 59. Now I bet you've never played Galaga like this before. This is Gaplus, Namco's ultra-obscure update to Galaga. The goal of this game is very much the same as the rest of the games. Just shoot at all the invaders! Move on to the next stage, rinse and repeat. However, unlike the other games in the series, Gaplus has been put into hyperdrive, as the levels are much faster and way harder than any Galaxian game that you have played before. The baddies come out of all sides, and are really ruthless, plus each stage is made up of 2 phases. The first phase has you surviving the spawning enemies. The second phase has you fighting them all on the field. If you die in the first phase, then you have to start the level all over again. Thank goodness that this game has a checkpoint in between phases, but getting there is no easy task. It's not just the baddies that have been upgraded for more destruction, it's also the ship, as it can move in a few directions. and can travel across the entire bottom half of the screen. Mix that in with the baddies and you've got a really early bullet hell shmup. You remember how in Galaga you can get the ship captured only to rescue it and then have 2 ships on the field? Well, Gaplus takes it and jacks it up to the extreme! There's a certain bad guy that pops up in the game, and if you kill it in a certain way, then you get a special beam that lets you capture the baddies to be used against them. Ooh. This makes the game very fun and crazy, as you can have a lot of ships on the field. But easy come, easy go. The ships can be destroyed. You won't die if your friends get killed. However, if a bullet hits your main ship, then you've lost everything. The graphics aren't that great in this game. The enemy design and colouring looks cheap and washed out, making this look like a bootleg game. I liked how the sounds were used in this, especially on some levels where the music changes into something dark and intense. However, it's not the greatest soundtrack of all time, and I much preferred playing this game while listening to a Devo record, especially this one. Overall, Gaplus is an interesting evolution in the Galaxian series, but the no hand-holding difficulty of this game will drive newcomers away. This one is for the hardcore Galaga veterans looking for a new challenge. Gaplus gets a 65.
Coming up after the break, Ikerooga and Shmups that Kaiser sucks at. All here on Kaisercade on EmeraldRangers.com. And now we are back with more Kaisercade. Yay.
I'm a bit too lazy to say something useful for this host segment, but thank goodness this game I'm reviewing is a game that everyone is familiar with. I'm not going to say what it is, because I probably already said it during the commercial break, but anyway, let's kick it off, shall we? Here's a shmup that every man and a dog knows about these days. The game that used to be a hard to find underground collector's item, but is now out for every modern day console. This is Ikerooga, and no, I'm not complaining. It is a very good thing that this game can be played a bit more easier these days, and here's why! First of all, this game has some of the finest gameplay that you'll find out of any shmup out there. Our main hero can also change in between black and white mode as well. The brilliance of this is that fighting bad guys that are the opposite colour to you will cause extra damage to them. That's not all, you can also absorb bullets and turn them into special homing missiles as well. However, you can only absorb the colour of bullets that is the same colour as you. So when you're white, you can absorb the white bullets. When black, well, you've already got the idea. The other thing that makes this game a brilliant shooter are the levels. They are very fun to get through, and each stage feels completely different from one another. This is also a very tough game. Actually, that's underestimating it. This game is an incredibly brutally hard game, with bullets all over the fucking place, a ton of enemies, big mini bosses, and even bigger bosses. So, use the combat system wisely, and you may survive this. And oh boy, it is satisfying being in a level without dying. It gets even more satisfying though by beating all the stages without firing back. Yes, you can either beat this game as a gung-ho, trigger-happy maniac, or a mellowed-out hippie pacifist man. If you suck at these kinds of games, and just want to cruise and see what this game has to offer, you can turn on free play mode, but this will also punish the player a little bit, as you won't be able to post scores to the online rankings. Not like that matters to casual players anyway. The graphics have aged incredibly well, considering that this is a game from 2001. Everything is crisp, clear, and even beautiful! They help to create a very strong sci-fi atmosphere. The soundtrack is great, with nice heroic sounding sci-fi tunes that help make the victories feel ultra satisfying. Overall, Ikaruga was one of those games I was expecting to be an overrated game that lost all of its mystique once it got a wider release. But once I beat the game, I can totally see why this is one of the greatest shmups of all time. It's a great game and a must play, even if you aren't into this genre. Ikaruga is a treasure! Gaming puns. And it gets a 90!
One of the reasons why I love shmups is that they come in a variety of different flavours. I like to review as many of these as I can, but sadly, there are some shmups out there that I really wanted to review, but can't because, well, they are so hard, I can't even get in far enough to give a plausible review on them. However, I still really want to talk about some of these games, as they are worth mentioning. Anyway, here are some shmups that I wanted to review, but can't because I simply, suck at them.
All of them?
Shut up, Orange Scarab! First game is a sequel to another fun indie cute-em-up called Sugary. This is Sora. Sora is a girl who must save the world from robots and other cute girls. The graphics are very cartoony, with a lot of cute designed girls, cool looking robots, and a lot of great effects. It also has a very interesting combat system. You get quite a few different attacks that are all good against certain baddies, and you can fill up a super bar for super special attacks. It's a fun game, but boy is it hard. I can get through the robots just fine, but the bosses just absolutely kick my ass. What's sad is that all of this happened on the easiest setting. It still doesn't stop me from rebooting the game and trying to improve myself. It's one that a lot of shmup heads should give a go. Heck, play the whole series, including the shmup fighting game, Acceleration of Sugary 2, and the board game, 100% Orange Juice. The second game is Strania, the Stellar Machines, and yes, it does sound more like the name of a badass prog rock album, but it's a shmup from legendary studio G-Rev. I even reviewed one of their games last year. Granted, it wasn't one of their good ones. This game has you playing as a mech, fighting in a very stylish sky war against big ships and other mechs. The action is fast-paced and is very satisfying blowing stuff up. You get 3 weapons to work with, and a decent selection of power-ups that are all good for different things, like the bullets being good for shooting things at afar, and a sword for doing massive damage when up close. Use your weapons wisely, otherwise you'll take too much damage. Speaking of damage, I like how the character has a health bar instead of the one hit you're dead approach. This package also comes with a second game, Vower. This game has larger levels, but they aren't as fun as Strania's. The main thing I didn't like was the moving around on certain levels, as it looked a bit weird. It looked like I am controlling the map rather than the character. The soundtrack is a blast to listen to as well. I can get a decent way into the game, but this game only gives a certain amount of credits. I reckon that I'll be able to beat this game eventually, but not now. Next is a very well-known retro classic. This is Darius, a game that really needs no introduction. Not only is it a classic shmup, but it also has a very awesome display setup that takes up 3 whole screens! It's very fun to play and easy to learn with smooth controls and a simple upgrade system. You get both a bullet shot to shoot things ahead and a missile attack that attacks at a spread. I like playing the Arcade Archives edition of this for the PS4. It's an arcade perfect port, minus the screen ratio. It is cropped, so it can fit your TV, and it is in super widescreen. It's just a shame that I can never beat the first stage. Still, it's something worth adding to your collection, but you can only get this volume from the Japanese PlayStation Network. There is a hard copy of this Arcade Archive release for the PS4, and it comes with a lot of sweet extras, but you'll need to shell out $500 to $1,000 if you want to add it to your collection. Yeah, it's easier just to buy a Japanese PlayStation Network card off of PlayAsia. The final game of this segment is a game that never got released outside of Japan, and I had to play this one via ReproCart. This is Battle Mania 2, a game about 2 badass girls that need to put a stop to an ultra-evil force. This hybrid shooter is full of action and fun, and feels like it should have been an arcade game instead of a Mega Drive one. Each level is very unique and stylish. It never gets boring. The system is pretty tight as well. You get to start each mission off by selecting a weapon. Some weapons work better in some situations than others. It can be hard to get the baddies when they are behind you, but you do have a partner on certain stages, and she can be used to cover your back. The graphics are also some of the best that you'll ever see on the Sega Mega Drive. It really pushes the hardware to the extreme. Hell, it looks better than most Super Nintendo games. I can get in around halfway into the game, but you only get a certain amount of credits to beat this game in, and I did have a blast, despite getting my butt kicked. But I don't expect myself to beat this whole game on my first, second, or even third try, but it is fun trying to best myself and get better at this game. I hope you all do better at these games than what I did. Back to you at the studio, Madman Sam.
Who the hell is Madman Sam?
Coming up next, videotapes in the Kaisercade Underground segment. Ooh, you want to stick around for that one. Right here on Kaisercade on EmeraldRangers.com. Hi, this is James T. Kaiser, host of the super secret Let's Play podcast. It's not a Let's Play, it's not a podcast, it's both. What? Haven't heard of it? Well, enjoy this clip then, and maybe that will intrigue you. Hopefully. I actually wanted to crucify myself.
I don't think that's possible.
I don't think it's possible now. Like, that's how bad they mess with me. And there was one time I was going to hang myself, but right before that happened, Sia was like, "Hey, you want to be on Tiger Claw Rain?" I'm like, sure. That's the super secret Let's Play podcast. You can check out the video version of it right here on my own YouTube channel. And for the audio version, you can check it out at www.emeraldrangers.com. Panic! Kaisercade's back on! Ah!
Hi, welcome back to Kaisercade. This is I, James T. Kaiser, and this segment is what I call the Kaisercade Underground. The segment where I like to cover the more obscure things to game collecting. And I'm looking forward to this one, as I finally get to cover another videotape! Yay! But it's not just any boring videotape. It is a video game related one. Woo, and I like to collect these. But what makes this one so special? Well, as you can see, or as you probably can't obviously see unless you can read Japanese, this is of a videotape for Cotton 2. Ooh. As you see, this tape just comes in a regular sleeve, and it's just got a regular sticker on the front. But what's on this videotape? Well, I'm glad you asked. And I prepared a little pre-recorded segment for this, so let's kick into that, shall we? And find out what's on this thing!
What you get on this tape isn't much, but you do get something special regardless. It's someone playing Cotton 2, near flawlessly, and using actual Sega STV hardware. The player also plays as the Player 2 character, Appelée K. Pumpkin. No, she isn't related to David S. Pumpkins. She is the rival character in this game, and I found it very interesting that they chose to play as her over Cotton. While it is fascinating to see someone play a game like this to near perfection, it does come off as a bit too clean. I'm not saying that it's rigged by any means. Hell no! It's just missing that fun chaos that you'd see from non-perfectionist players. Overall, just seeing footage recorded straight from an official STV system is enough to impress me. But just like most of these tapes, they are a product of their time, and you can find videos of people playing these games online. For collectors, this is a little fun piece to have, and feels special being part of your retro gaming collection. But do be warned, this tape is hard to find, and also quite expensive, at around $80+. Yeah, that's a lot to pay for some gameplay on a tape, but it is fun owning a piece of obscure retro history like this.
Yes, that is what was on the tape. But don't go away, as I got another segment coming up. Right now. Ooh, if you weren't interested in this tape, then this next game that I reviewed may be something that you are interested in. This is of Battle Garegga for the PS4. Here's a game that you may not know got a hard copy release for the PS4. Or know that it got a release for the PS4 in general. Yeah, this is Battle Garegga, a classic arcade shmup released in 1996. I honestly have no idea what the game is about, but from what I can tell from the gameplay, it's about a group of pilots that must stop the baddies who have huge factories that are dedicated to build more bad guys with deadlier weapons. Ooh! Whatever this game is about, it feels like a grand action movie that never was, which is the perfect feel for this game. The battle system in this one is quite interesting indeed. Not only are there power-ups and drones, you can also change formation of your drones and have them fire in different directions. This is tricky to use at first, but it feels so good when you've nailed down this ability. That's not all, as you can collect special bullets to fill up your special meter, but it's more than just an attack. It's also a shield. If you have enough special bullets collected when you get hit, you'll let off a special attack instead of going down. I really like the system in this one. It's fresh and unique, and it has many different ways to play this game. It's a good thing that this game has this easy to learn system, as this isn't an easy game at all. As there are enemies and bullets everywhere, and not all of them are easy to see. Some of the enemy fire is actually quite small and easy to miss. Mix this all together and you get a really fun game that requires more strategy than the typical shmup, and I loved it! The system is tight, the controls are smooth, and the levels are really cool with a lot going on, but not too much to where the gimmick gets boring. Another awesome thing is that this release contains a few different versions of this game, including a super easy mode for those who get frustrated when trying to beat this game normally. A thing I didn't like was that free play isn't unlocked from the get-go. You need to grind in order to increase that credit limit. I love the graphics in this game, the ships are awesome, and the levels look great, and the action looks spectacular! There's also different versions of the soundtrack you can select, including the Sega Saturn version! Doesn't matter which version you pick though, you'll go through all of them anyway, as they are incredibly awesome to listen to, and will sound waves of smooth nostalgia down to your spine. Overall, this is a pretty packed release of a great arcade game. Even if you can't get a hold of this release, then do yourself a favour and find another way of playing this game. It's a shmup that needs to be played by all. Battle Garegga gets a 88. Now, a little bit of extra information about this port. You see, if you want to get the hard copy edition, it's best to go for the Korean version. Why? Well, Japan did get a physical edition, but their version doesn't come on a disc. When you buy it, you get a box, but you get a DLC code for the game. Where, for this port of the game, you actually do. You actually do get the game on a disc. Not just that, you also get a bonus soundtrack, which doesn't play on my PS4. I don't know why. PS4 can play Blu-rays and DVDs, but not CDs. Come on, Sony, let me play my bloody music CDs on my PS4. But anyway, that is it for this first edition of Shmuptober 3. Did you like this episode? Good! Did you hate this episode? Well, at least you watched to the end. But while this is the end of the episode, it is not the end of Shmuptober just yet. I still got 3 more episodes to go. Yes, that's right, baby. This is a 4-part series. And here's what you can expect on the next episode of Kaisercade Shmuptober 3.
On the next episode, Nico Navy, Space Invaders Extreme, another edition of the Kaisercade Underground, and more! So stay tuned as he continues on the Shmuptober 3 series, right here on Kaisercade, on EmeraldRangers.com. Thank you for watching, guys. See you next time.